What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Daddy Fino Flash podcast featuring your homies. Obviously, it's me, Daddy Fino, Bay. And of course, my co-host, the one and only JT Flash. Say what's up to the people, JT.
What's up?
So, JT, I gotta tell you something, man. Got some great news for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, my great news is I'm actually feeling really great today, man.
Yeah?
Really good today. So I don't know if you know, but some quick news came out today that Kevin Durant is been cleared to practice. Did you know that?
I heard that. We'll have to see what kind of impact he makes.
Yeah, man. I have a feeling my theory of that three and one full circle thing. I think it's gonna come true, man.
Not gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure.
Not
I'm
gonna
pretty
happen.
sure. All right. Well, we'll see. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. For once, we're not going to talk about the finals, or at least this year's finals. See, today, for the people, we're going to do another ranking episode. And I don't know if you know, but I beat you down on the last one.
That's
And all the
yet to be
people,
proven.
all the people, who I've talked to, of course, they've told me that I won. But we're going to have another ranking episode. We're going to also talk about the modern era. So basically, there's going to be another ranking from the year 2000 to now. And this time, we are going to be ranking the top NBA teams. The top NBA teams, the top 5 NBA teams from now to the year 2000. How about that, JT? You think you're ready for that?
Let's do it.
You ready? All right. So how about this, JT? How about you go first? I'm gonna let you go first today because I think last time I might have went first, and this time I'm gonna give you the advantage. So go ahead, rank your teams, and let's get this party started.
All right. So I'm gonna say my 5, and then you're gonna say your 5, correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
The people.
Go ahead.
All right.
Start from the bottom. Let's work your way to the top, and then we'll discuss after.
Okay. Well, first of all, before I mention my list, I just want to say how difficult this was to narrow a lot of good basketball teams within almost a 20-year stretch into 5 spots. I do have one team on here twice, and we can discuss why later, but I'll get right into it. At number 5, I have the 2011 to 2012 Miami Heat. At number 4, I have the 2004 to 2005 San Antonio Spurs. At number 3, I have the 2016 to 2017 Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
Number 2, I have the 2000 to 2001 Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay.
And at number 1, I have the 2015 to 2016 Golden State Warriors. So mostly
Wow.
Western Conference teams, but
right.
I don't think it's a big surprise that the Western Conference this era, we're calling it that, has been the juggernaut of the NBA. So
I gotta admit that was a pretty interesting list there, JT.
yeah,
Pretty interesting, man. I'm not gonna say my thoughts on it yet because I want to say my list for the people. So let me just go ahead and start. All right. So number 5. Now, when I was making this list, I gotta admit this was the hardest spot. It was hard to leave out a team. So this was the tough one. But for number 5, I'm going to go with the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics. Okay. At number 4, I'm going to go with the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. At number 3, I'm going to go with the 2011-2012 Miami Heat. Number 2, I'm going to go with the 2000, 2001 Lakers. And then at number 1, I'm going with the 2016, 2017 Golden State Warriors.
Wow. I mean, we almost had the same 5 teams up there. Different orders. But
We had some teams that were similar, but your ranking, I don't know what. We'll get into your ranking.
all right.
Actually, you know what? I want you to explain your list to me.
Okay.
I'm gonna write this down. I want to make sure I got your teams as you say it.
Yeah. Let's go. Go
All
ahead.
right. So you said number 5 was who?
The 2011 to 2012 Miami Heat.
Okay.
And do you want me to say why I put them at 5, or are we going through the whole?
Just tell me your list one more time. Make sure I got it down right.
Number 5 is the 2011 to 2012 Miami Heat.
Okay.
Number 4 is the 2004 to 2005 San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Number 3 is the 2016 to 2017 Warriors.
Gotcha.
Number 2 is the 2000 to 2001 Los Angeles Lakers.
All right.
And number 1 is the 2015 to 2016 Golden State Warriors.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Now explain your list to me. Go ahead.
Okay. So without the LeBron James hate that you claim I have, I put him on number 5 for my on his Miami Heat team.
Okay.
That year, I believe it was his first. That was his first finals win.
It was
career.
Yes, it was.
You know, that team, since he joined it, was the first, I guess you could call it, super team of this era, where, you know, two or three great superstars join forces to try to win a title. I would have put them. I actually had them at number 4, or no, at 3 when I first made this list. But then I remembered that they finished. I think they finished the third best record that year. And they did struggle for a team that looked unbeatable. They did struggle against in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Celtics. They won that series 4-3 before winning the finals 4-1 at the Thunder. I put them up there because the talent they had. You know, obviously they had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. That year they also had you know, some other role players. Mario Chalmers, Birdman. I can't think of the other guy off the top of my head. They had one more guy I was going to mention, but that's why I have him at number 5. And then at number 4, it was a 2004-2005 Spurs. They had, you know, a great regular season record that year. I think they went 59-23, and then in the playoffs, you know, they won. They only had one. They had the struggle against the Pistons in the finals, but other than that, they pretty much dominated everybody that year. Tim Duncan was coming off back-to-back MVPs. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili were making names for themselves in the league. You know, they had Robert Horry, Bruce Bowen, Brent Barry, who all had great seasons, and they looked unstoppable at that time. And then I have the number 3, which is the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors. You know, they had a great regular season also, and they just completely dominated everybody that year. I think they went, would they go 16-1 that whole playoffs when they beat Cleveland and won? You know, obviously they had Curry and Durant, and they seemed like an even unstoppable team, which to me is crazy because I didn't think anybody would beat the team that's first on my list, but we'll get to that in a minute. Number 2 is the 2000-2001 Los Angeles Lakers. You talk about another dominating basketball team. especially in the playoffs. I think they they had a similar record. That and the rules had changed, I believe, because they in the first series in the playoffs, didn't they only play a 5-game series back then?
Let's see. Yes.
So they basically swept everybody that year except Allen Iverson's 76ers in the finals. So they had basically a similar record to the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors. Some you could argue that they didn't have as talented as a team as the Warriors. And that was kind of, Kobe and Shaq's, you know, their coming out party as future all-stars in the league.
Right.
And then number one, I have the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. So that to me is the first time I actually witnessed a team and followed a team the whole season that looked truly unbeatable. And this was before KD. And I know that they lost that year. They had the big 1-3. They blew the big lead.
Yep.
LeBron James to lose, but they went 79-3 that year. They were breaking scoring records. And it was just something crazy to watch. I think that was kind of the year that I think before that people were already starting to talk about Steph Curry and how he's the best shooter of all time, but I think that's really the year that people wanted to put Klay Thompson also in that argument. I know that Kawhi Leonard got hurt in the playoffs, whether or not that was a dirty play, but they looked truly unstoppable the whole season and into the playoffs. And so that's where I have them at number one. No team's ever, looked that unstoppable to me, especially shooting the ball. And that's kind of why I have my list ranked the way I do. But I'll let you go now, and you can tell me why your list is different.
Okay. No problem. Now, I do want to say I made one mistake. I made a mistake when I said the Miami Heat team. So you know how it's 2011, 2012?
Yeah.
I was just thinking 2012, and I said the wrong one. I meant 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Miami Heat at number 3. But so for those that just need a reminder, I said number 5, I had the 2007, 2008 Celtics. Number 4, I had the 2015, 2016 Golden State Warriors. 3 was the 2012, 2013 Miami Heat. Number 2 was the 2000 to 2001 Lakers. And then number 1 was the 2016, 2017 Warriors. So now to explain why I have this list. So the reason I have this list, number 5 with the Celtics. Celtics was, to me, that was the team. That was like almost like the very first super team. Now I know the guys on this team were, in the later part of their careers, but they were still really good. You had Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. You had the young Rondo. You had Kendrick Perkins,
Big baby.
James Posey, Eddie House,
Baby.
Tony Allen, Big Baby. I mean, you had the God Brian Scalabrine. I mean, it was. I mean, this was the squad. That year they won 66 games. They won 66 games. They beat the Lakers in the finals. That's just another reason why I put them on the list automatically. Yeah. I mean, this team, they were a team that was brought together. They had to make some trades to get Kevin Garnett over from Minnesota. I believe Ray Allen signed on as a free agent, but I could be wrong about that. But I'm pretty sure he signed on. This was the beginning of Rondo's upbringing, where he was one of a tough young point guard. Where now, I mean, a lot of people shit on him for the way he acts, but to me, I mean, he's been nothing but nothing but just a great, smart player for this league. There's a reason why he's called Playoff Rondo, and it was during this playoff run that he was born. Kevin Garnett was a beast. I mean, Paul Pierce, don't let me forget about the truth because he took over. I mean, it was just a great series, great year for them, and to me, that was like I said, the birth of the super team. Number four. Number four is your number one team, the Golden State Warriors, the 72-9 Warriors.
73-9.
I mean, 73-9 Warriors. I'm sorry. Let me not take away their let me not take away their thing. Um, so Golden State. Reason why I have them so low. Now, when I originally made this list, I was actually going to go and put them number two. But I brought them down for the simple fact that they didn't win the championship. Um, I thought as much as if you take away the title win, they're obviously one of the greatest teams ever. That's not even a question. Um, and yes, I do understand that the Warriors they get hurt in the finals, or both two of them got hurt in the finals.
One.
Draymond got suspended in Game 5, which I believe that Draymond had played, they would have won. But it's hard for me to put a team that, although they should have won, and we think they were robbed, uh, in the record books they don't have the title, so it doesn't even matter. So I had to knock them down. I didn't want to. I mean, they were such a great team. Uh, they were deep, and you got like you mentioned, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You had Draymond. Um, you also had oh wow, my mind just went blank. You still had Sean Livingston and Iggy. You know, Harrison Barnes was on that team. There was just a great in-depth team. So you got to give them props. I had to put them on my list for sure. Number three, I have the 2012, 2013 Miami Heat, simply because this was when the super team of, I guess you could say for our more modern era, because it's just, it was in the 2010s era. I don't know how do you even say those? Is
I
it
don't know.
2010? Anyway, in the 2010s, this was, I guess, the start of how the new era of basketball will be, where teams are gonna start teaming together in free agency. I mean, players are gonna start teaming together in free agency. LeBron James coming. This was his third year with them. The first year he was with them, he lost to the Mavericks. The second year, it's the team you were talking about, where they beat the Thunder. But this was the team that was the dominant one. This, to me, they beat the Spurs in the championship. Now, obviously, that was due to the Ray Allen shot that saved the Miami Heat. No, I'm not going to say it saved LeBron's career. Sorry, JT. I know that's what you're thinking. Um, but it saved the Miami Heat in Game 6, and then LeBron took over in Game 7 and won the championship. Got to give him props for doing that. This team also won 66 games that year. Um, they were first place. They dominated the East, although they did have a little trouble, not much, but they had a little bit trouble in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers, who was, sort of kind of their nemesis, but really wasn't. We just say they are because, it didn't get swept.
Yeah.
um, but at the same time, yeah, it was just a great team. That's not meant. We already know about LeBron. We already know about Wade. We know about Bosh. But I mentioned Ray Allen already. But they also had Birdman. They had Joel Anthony, Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole. Mike Miller, Rashard Lewis. I mean, these guys. They just had a team full of shooters surrounded by LeBron and Wade. I mean, and their defense was stellar, one of the best in the league. I got to give to number 3. Number 2, I'm going to go with your Lakers. Notice I went with the 2000-2001 Lakers and not with the following year
Yeah,
Lakers.
we already heard this. Yeah, I know what you're
Um,
going. So
yeah, although you can argue that the one I didn't name was the better team. We know they're cheaters, so we're just going to go with the first one. The first one, the first Lakers team dominated the league. Um, Definitely in the playoffs. They went 15-1. Only game they lost was in overtime in game 1 to the Philadelphia Sixers. Of course, that was the famous AI game. Um, but it's hard to stop that Shaq and Kobe tandem. I mean, it was one of the best tandems in all of basketball history. Uh, you could say it's up there in all of sports history. I mean, that's how lethal that tandem was. Derek. You also had Derek Fisher, Rick Fox. Was was that the Robert? Was Robert Horry part of that team?
uh,
I know. I
I
know
know
he
he
was a part of the
was,
Cheaters team.
but
I
I
can't remember if he was a part of that team.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say
Uh,
he was, but
but either way, I mean, the Lakers, it's hard to really go against them. And to be honest, it was really hard not to put them at number 1. It was really hard for me not to. But at the end of the day, uh, when you have Shaq, the most unstoppable force in NBA history, I know that people talk about Kareem with the unstoppable move, but I just look at the entire body. I mean, there's no one in the world that can ever stop Shaq from doing whatever the hell he wants to do. So, and yeah, Robert Horry was on that team too. I mean, it's just, and then Kobe was just entering. I don't even know if he was entering his prime yet because he was what, maybe he came in, he was probably like 23 at that time. So I don't even think he was even entering his prime yet. He was still fucking balling. It was just godlike what he did. He averaged 28 points that year. I mean, Kobe was actually he was 22 and he was averaging 28 points a game. That's just unreal, unstoppable. I'm just gonna move on. Number 1, I have the Golden State Warriors. Like I said, the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. This is the first year that they got Kevin Durant, and this is the team that I think pretty much everyone has said it. They are they are unbeatable in a 7-game series.
it's basically an
So,
Olympic team. I mean,
It,
if you want to
it,
be
it pretty much is. It was already, a lot of people thought it was already unfair already, definitely with the year prior. Um, but if those suspensions and injuries didn't happen, we already know that that team would have won the second straight championship. And then when Durant got there, that would have been their third, and then their fourth. And then if Durant was healthy, this would be their fifth this year. But I mean, it's already. I don't want to say something you already said, but it's hard not to. I mean, the Warriors, they got the two Marsmen, the Splash Brothers, Clay and Steph, or Steph and Clay. Let me be respectful. Um, and then they already have a 2-time MVP. So to add another MVP player who was arguably the best player in the world, I mean, it's just really is really unfair for the league. And then the fact that he actually improved while playing with them. He was never known as a defensive force before. He always was. He could play defense, but it wasn't like he can now. He's no Kawhi Leonard on the defensive end, but the way Durant stepped up, you know, he's able to play better defense now. It's unbelievable. And I just have there's just no way I cannot put them at number 1. I think they could be any team all time. I think they can beat the Showtime Lakers. I think they can beat the the 2001, 2002 Lakers, 2001 Lakers. It doesn't matter. I think this team could be any team. Um, you
Well,
know,
I think Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen might have something to say about that, but
and I said they can. I didn't say they would. I just said they can.
okay.
But I'm sure that's something that we'll talk about one day, though. But for now, I'm just gonna say that this team can beat them. So whatever. That's just it is what it is. So let me hear from you, JT. You heard my reasons. I've heard yours.
So
Tell me what you got. Tell me what you think.
let's start with your Boston Celtics team.
Yes, sir. Let's start with the Celtics. What's your problem with it?
I have to admit that was a team where I kept changing out for number 5. And in my opinion, that team, as dominant as it was, because they were, and a lot of people don't realize that they had a terrible record the year before when it was just Paul Pierce there. I think they won like 24 games the previous year.
I believe so. Yep.
That team was dominant. However, I think they played, not to take away from the Cavaliers, who got even with that team, the Cavaliers, because LeBron James was there, took a lot of the spotlight. But the teams that they beat to get to the finals, I don't think were, that great. I mean, they played the Hawks in the first round.
Yeah, you're right.
Cavaliers. I just think that they had an easier road to the finals. Now, they did beat the Lakers.
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Because, this is – see, now you're not just going to be disrespectful and act like I'm going to forget that.
Okay.
So you said they beat what? Easy teams? Right? That's what you're saying?
I think that their road to the finals was easier than the other
Okay.
teams that year.
So hold on. Okay, calm down. Shush. All right, look. Let me tell you something. All right, you want to say the Atlanta Hawks were easy team.
Yeah.
You can have the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
They even went to Game 7 against the Hawks.
Yep.
But now look at Cleveland. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm not, but just correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't that Cleveland team go to the NBA Finals the previous year?
They did. They did.
They did.
Lost, but they won.
Okay. Yeah, they lost. But so they were the reigning, defending Eastern Conference champion. Right?
But okay. I see where you're going, but that's fine. Keep going.
Okay. And they beat them, right? LeBron, they beat. Okay. All right. Cool. Then who did they beat in the conference finals?
The Pistons.
They beat the who? The Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
A Detroit Pistons team that made it to 2 NBA finals, correct? Just correct me if I'm wrong.
But
okay.
That's true.
What?
That's true. Yeah, you're not wrong. But
all right.
Go ahead. Finish your argument.
And they still had, I wouldn't say they had every player from that team that made it to the finals.
They did, but keep going.
Let me see. Well, they had 4 of them.
Okay.
They had Richard Hamilton. Is he not a good player?
Rip, yeah, of course.
Okay. Chauncey Billups. Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of him.
Okay. Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Antonio McDyess, Rodney Stuckey, Lindsey Hunter. Like, these were a great team. They were still a great team.
Okay.
How can you be so disrespectful?
So I'll tell you why. You want to know who the lead scorer on that team was the whole year and what they averaged?
I know who you're going to say. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Okay. Rip Hamilton was the leading scorer on that team and averaged 17 points a game.
Okay? So I'm gonna stop you there. Do you
Okay.
know that when they won the championship against your Lakers, the leading scorer on their team was Chauncey Billups with 16? Okay, continue.
No. But I'm saying, as for all the players that they had, the Celtics had, they had the first big three. They got bested by Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, who someone could argue that they were on the. I won't say Rip was, but I think you could say Chauncey Billups and Rasheed Wallace were definitely on the decline in their careers.
So whoa. So we're the Celtics. Hold on. We
Okay.
acting we acting like the Celtics weren't either. They were.
No,
I'm not saying they were still in their
but
prime.
who had the better who? Okay, so at that point in time, are you taking Rasheed Wallace over Kevin Garnett?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. They have the better roster. Kevin Garnett over Rasheed Wallace. Who are you taking? Paul
Yeah,
Pierce
but
or Rip
okay.
Hamilton?
Hold on. That's a bad point, and I'm gonna tell you why that's a bad point. Okay.
Okay.
Because look at the Lakers in 03-04 when they played the Pistons. Who
Yeah.
had a better roster?
Oh,
The Lakers
yeah.
or the Pistons?
But we're not talking about the 03-04 Lakers.
No,
We're
no,
talking
I know we're not, but this is what I'm saying. I'm using your argument against my team against you because it doesn't matter about who's better as far as on paper. Like, yes, Shaq was better than Ben Wallace. Kobe was better than Rip Hamilton, and so on and so on. But it doesn't matter. It's how you play. The Pistons were still a really great team. I mean, to disrespect them is kind of messed up, man.
I'm not disrespecting them. I just
And they
think,
were the 2 seed in the East. They were the 2 seed. So it's not like they
but you're
and
not
they won 59 games.
okay. They did win 59 games, but look who the Lakers had to go through on the other side. I mean, you want to talk about that?
Go ahead, bring them up.
Okay. Hang on
Please
just a
bring them
second.
up. Because the thing is, I understand your point, but at the same time, we can't use that as like, who cares that their competition is not there. That's not the Celtics' fault. The Celtics got to play who they play. And, they did their job. And, another thing, too, is, all right, you're going to say the Hawks. You brought up the Hawks. Yes, the Hawks is not a team that, is something we can look over the Hawks. I think we both can do that. But we can't stop. We can't deny the fact that these Celtics beat Cleveland, who went to the finals the previous year, although they got swept, but that doesn't matter. You can't look at that. That wouldn't be fair.
Look, this is my point. Okay. The Detroit Pistons were a good team.
Yes,
The
great
Cleveland
team.
Cavaliers were a good team. Okay.
Great team.
Reigning, like you said, reigning East champion.
Yep.
But for as good as you made them be to put them on number 5, they won 4-3 over the Hawks, 4-3 over the Cavs, 4-2 over the Pistons.
Okay, but hold on.
Struggled to get to the. You want to talk about dominance? That's not dominant. They struggled to get to the championships.
Struggled, but maybe they didn't. I see. Well, see, I don't know if I said dominant. I just thought the way I explained it is.
Well, they were. They had a great regular season. You can't say that they weren't dominant or didn't appear to be dominant.
They dominated the regular season. I mean, like I said, they won 66 games. That's for sure. But then we look at the Hawks. Yes, we both look over them, like I said. But let's not, we look over them, but they had a young team that was actually really good.
No, listen. I'm not trying to say the Hawks were terrible. They made the playoffs and they went they won 3 games against the Celtics.
Right.
But I'm saying that for as good as everyone made the Celtics out to be that year, they struggled in the postseason.
Well, they didn't struggle to a championship over your Lakers. So
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying it doesn't. At the end of the day, though, JT, I don't think that matters.
Okay.
Now hold on, because let's compare it to your number 5 team. Okay, let's compare them because your number 5 team, if I'm correct, I wrote down the 2011, 2012 Miami Heat. Correct, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. This team, let's talk about not dominating. That team they only won 46 games that year.
Well, look, you're right, but they did only
Uh-huh.
win 47 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they struggled in the playoffs as well, which is why I have them at number 5. But the big
Right.
reason they have is they blew out the Thunder in the finals.
The Thunder were babies. It didn't matter.
They, so you're saying in 2011 Kevin Durant wasn't a great player?
I didn't say that.
Been in the league 5 years.
Okay, wait, did I say that? I said they were babies. I
Babies.
didn't.
What?
Yeah.
Babies would be like, okay, so I understand James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I understand all that, but I'm
Okay.
saying it looked like they were in a class of their own that year when it came to the finals. It looked like they were playing high schoolers on their side of the court.
You know what's crazy though? You really want to know what's crazy about that, JT? First off, let me get to your first.
No, hang on. I know what you're going to say. The scores were close.
That's not what I'm going to say. Okay. That's not what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm not going to say at all.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say though, you said, because I said they were babies. You said that I'm saying that Kevin Durant wasn't good 5 years in. LeBron, when he went to the finals in 2007. Okay, he played the Spurs. He was
4 years in.
He was 4 years in. Why did they lose that series?
I can tell you why. He had no help as a young player. That he's the only
player though, right?
Yeah.
He was still a young player. He was still a baby.
Okay.
Correct.
I wouldn't call that a baby, but okay.
What I'm saying is he was still young.
Yeah.
Young players don't know about that stuff.
Okay.
There's not many young players that know how to step up like that. I mean, Dwayne Wade did, but he had Shaq. So it was able to help him. Who did Kevin Durant have in that series? He had Russell Westbrook, who you just said was still young. He was very young. He was young. I think he's a year or two younger than Durant.
I think he's a year younger.
A year. Yeah. Okay, and then he had James Harden, who didn't even show up in that finals because he was still a baby. But then it actually just turns out to be he just doesn't know where the finals are, But so it's hard for him to show up to anything. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But that's not even the main point. You talk about my Celtics, right?
Yeah. Don't say your Celtics. Just say your pick.
No, I'm going to say my Celtics for now because my Celtics are on my list, okay?
All right.
Do you know who the Miami Heat beat in the Eastern Conference Finals that year?
Well, just go ahead and say it. Go ahead.
It was the Boston Celtics. This was an aging Boston Celtics. This was way aging. This is the same Boston Celtics that's on number 5 on my list. But this is, 4 years later? 4 years later?
Mm-hmm.
So they were already aging in 2008 when they won the title. They were still young and in their primes.
They're at the
they were towards the later part of their primes. Yeah. This is them pretty much the last year of their prime. It took you 7 games to beat my team. 4 years later.
I'm not saying that it is. Maybe that's just a credit.
So using that, what I'm saying is using that, JT.
Okay.
You said that the team, beating the.
But would you agree that the East really hasn't had a whole lot of great basketball teams season after season? That the West has been the harder of the two? Because the Boston Celtics, they beat them. But other than those two teams, who was really going to get the shot? The Pacers the next year maybe, but that year.
You're right. You're 100% right. The Boston Celtics during the time when the East was bad, before the Miami Heat of the Heat that you're talking about, right?
Yep.
The only 2 teams that dominated in the East because they won titles, so obviously they dominated, was the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics. Okay. That's a fact. And then,
No, you're right.
so based off of that, I should have every right to put the Celtics up here.
Well, I didn't. Okay, but I didn't say I had a problem with you putting at number 5. I just don't think they could be an honorable mention. I just wouldn't put them at my number 5.
I think they should because they were out of the two East teams. To me, they were only. You know what was crazy? I actually almost put the Pistons and the Celtics in my top 5. I was close, and you know who I was going to take out? I was either going to take out the Miami Heat or the 73 Warriors.
Really?
Yeah, I almost did that.
Okay. Well, I'm
I
glad
think
you didn't. I'm.
I didn't. I mean, honestly, I think I could make a very good point as to why they should be.
So to your point, I also had the Detroit Pistons, and on a bubble coming in, they were just on the outside. I have them at 6. Actually, have them over the 07-08 Boston Celtics.
That's blasphemous.
Is it?
That is.
No, it's not.
That's. I hate to use that word.
The 04 Pistons over the
Oh,
07-08 Boston Celtics?
I would take those Celtics over those Pistons any day.
Okay. That's
Kevin
fine.
Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, in their primes.
They weren't in their primes, though.
They were in their primes in 2008. What do you mean? They were in their prime. It's not even a question.
Maybe Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Rondo wasn't in his prime.
I didn't say Rondo. Did I mention Rondo? I said Ray Allen.
Okay. Well, listen, at the end of the day, and to bring up your point where I brought up, Rips and Chauncey Billups' numbers, Kevin Garnett was actually the leader of that team that season. If you want to count, I think no Kevin Garnett, they don't win any championships. But that's my opinion. They don't win a.
I mean, you're not. You wouldn't be wrong in saying that.
Okay.
You wouldn't
Anyway,
be wrong in saying that. Yeah.
okay.
I agree.
So moving on, because we'll just agree to disagree on that. We have.
Can I just say one thing real quick? Just
sure.
one quick.
Go ahead.
2008, Paul Pierce was age 30. That's still your prime because your prime usually starts around 26 to 32. That's usually the prime of a superstar. Sometimes longer depending on the superstar. Ray Allen was 32. Garnett was 31. So just to
they were okay. They were in their primes. They won a championship over the Lakers.
Over the Lakers.
Who they
beat again?
They beat the Lakers. You have them at 5. Well, I have them at 7, but that's fine.
That's fine. Okay, we'll continue. Moving on.
Okay, number 3. You have a issue with the 2016-2017 Warriors being at 3.
Well, no. First off, no. Wait, I need you to talk about number 4. You skipped 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did skip 4. The 2004-2005 San Antonio Spurs.
Right. Talk to me about that, please.
Okay, hang on just a second here. I gotta get my notes out. So,
go ahead.
I mentioned the regular season record before. They went 59-23, which isn't the best record on this list or what we said, but it's pretty good.
No, it's still a great record. Go ahead.
Tim Duncan, they looked like, maybe a super team before super team was a thing because they had a roster of stacked players. Tim Duncan had already won back-to-back MVPs. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili were making names for themselves. They had, Big Shot Bob, Bruce Bowen, Brent Berry, just to name a few. They were great. They dominated the entire playoffs. No team ever took them to a Game 7 except in the finals against the Pistons,
Okay.
who we just argued about.
Right. They should have lost that series.
But, well, they didn't.
Still, I'm still mad at Rasheed Wallace. But go ahead, continue.
But yeah, that's where I have them is at 4. I don't go on. Give me why you have a issue with them being at
Well,
4.
it's not that I have an issue with it. So, all right. So I thought about having this team up there. I guess my only issue would be maybe this is the wrong Spurs team to have up there. This was, yes, Tim Duncan was in the middle of his prime. He is the greatest power forward of all time. He was proving it. This is his second championship team because he had won in '99. But my issue with the team is that Tony Parker was still young. So he wasn't the Tony Parker that that he was still great. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take away from what Tony Parker did because he was still a great player during this year. But I believe that the Tony Parker maybe 2 years later.
In the 06-07 Spurs.
Right.
See,
I thought
it was between this team and that team at number 4. But
right. And I'm sorry, wait. I think I said we said this is the 0405, right? You said?
yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah. So this is actually yeah, I'm sorry. This would be Duncan's third championship. I'm sorry.
Yep. I was getting ready to say correct you, but
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always mix it up. I forgot they won the championship after the three-peat of the Lakers. Anyway, so I prefer that Tony Parker. Tony Parker was still 22 years old. He still averaged like 16 points a game that year. Duncan was in the middle of his prime. Manu Ginobili was still a beast. Well, not still. He was a beast. So I can't really argue against this team. I just would probably prefer the second one, the 2017 that won the championship. And the only problem, I guess, the argument against that team would be that in the finals they played Cleveland, and LeBron didn't have anybody, so it was an easy series for them. Obviously, because they swept them. But other than that, it was a good pick. I'm not too mad about this pick at all. It was not bad. Did you have any issues with my pick?
So 5 was your Celtics. Who was your number 4 again? Or just remind
Number
everybody.
4 was your number 1.
Oh, the Golden State Warriors. So I feel like your reason for putting the number 4 about them not having a championship has some merit, but I think what they did throughout the season overshines that. I think what they did, offensively is something it might take a few years to ever see again, that record. We might not ever see that again. And they did look completely dominant. I didn't think there was a team that was going to even come close to beating them in the finals. Now, we both, I think, are on record on one of a future podcast saying had Draymond played and not been suspended, that LeBron never gets that, makes history.
Right.
That's really my only issue with your argument. You still put them in the top 5. It's arguable that they could be in the top 5, or it's arguable they could be higher. So I'm not mad that you have them at 4, as long as you've had them in the top 5. Then my number 3 pick is your number 1 pick, the 2016-2017 Warriors.
Yep. And I have a huge problem with that.
Okay, go ahead.
So I don't understand how you can say that 2000, the Warriors that I have it for, the 73 win Warriors, how you can have them above a team that just added Kevin Durant. Like that doesn't.
Well,
I
so
don't. I don't get that. That doesn't. That doesn't.
because they didn't do, they added the best player in the world that we've said, and they didn't even get close. I mean, they went what 67-15, and they completely dominated. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't do what they were doing before we got there. I mean, they didn't break any records.
Okay, well,
Scoring.
see, that's the thing though, because you have to think. For me, at least, I think you're missing the exterior factors other than just the records. Why didn't they go for those records? Let's just be honest. If they actually tried to go for that record, do you think they would have got it? Or
I mean,
let me
yeah,
ask you this: Do
I'm
you
gonna
think they
say
even
yes.
tried?
Yeah.
I don't. They didn't try, and that's the thing. The Warriors
Well,
learned from their lesson from the '73 team that lost. They
did
learned.
okay.
They learned that going for records is not going to do anything. It's not because that's why Steph was hurt and tired in the finals. You know, that's why guys like Iggy and well, I'm not saying that's the reason why they got hurt, but it was definitely a factor.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Oh yeah, bring it on.
They didn't learn their lesson. I'm gonna tell you why. Because who do the Warriors look like now and losing in the finals to the Raptors that with Kevin Durant's out? Do they look like the Warriors from 2015 or 16, or do they look like the Warriors we've been seeing?
What do you mean?
Because
Do they?
to me, they look like the same team from 2015, chucking up, living and dying by the three. They don't.
I
I
just
don't think they learned their lesson. I think that they just added Kevin Durant and can play a different way when he's on the floor.
no, no, and no, because that's not what I was talking about. I'm not talking about their play style. The play
Okay.
style has always been the same. Kevin Durant added a different dynamic to it, but I'm not talking play style. I'm talking about so when the Warriors were going for those to try to beat the record, okay? When they were going for it, they would play in games that they had no business even playing their starters in. They kept them in games.
I'm
They
not disputing what you're saying about that.
okay,
I'm saying their play style is a big reason why they broke those records.
correct. No, I agree, but they were actually trying to.
Okay.
That's my point. In the second when they got Kevin Durant, if they actually tried, they would have broke those records, but they didn't care about the records because they learned that records is not going to do anything. They didn't play as much as they did the year previous when they got Durant. They didn't. In fact, they got blown out a couple of times, but they didn't care because the end goal was always the championship. That's all they ever wanted. They didn't care about the records. They learned their lesson from that. Steve Kerr is on record talking about that. Steph Curry's on record talking about it. There's no way you can tell me that the team is even though they got 73 wins, is better than the team with Durant. That's not possible. Now, you can say like what we say in our previous episodes where we're talking about the Warriors and how we both had Warriors beating the Raptors, right?
Yeah.
We say that we believe they can win even without Durant. But what do we say when they have Durant? It's guaranteed, correct?
Yeah.
So that's you can use that for this argument as far as the Warriors with Durant the following year is better than the team that won 73 wins. And another thing that I think that's another thing we got to bring up too, and maybe this is just me, but in basketball, usually the best team wins the championship. Usually, the better team is always going to win the series, win that championship. That's just normal for the NBA. Okay. Now, I'm not saying not Miami. Cleveland was better than the Warriors. I think we both agree that, the Warriors are better than that Cleveland team. But at the same time, it was the Warriors' fault that they didn't win that championship because they were, like we said, they went after the record. Draymond Green did get suspended. It was a BS suspension, but he got suspended. Steph was hurt, but that was due to playing all those games, unnecessary games that he played. You know, um, it was a lot of things, and that hurts them. So we can't punish the other teams that were better. I think football's the only sport where you don't have to win the championship for you still to be considered the best.
I would agree with that. Maybe baseball. I don't know. So sometimes
Yeah,
a
in
series
baseball too.
upset.
Yeah. Baseball too. But I think basketball is a sport where your championships actually is what makes you better as a team now. Now, individually, that's a different story. But as a team, your greatness is depending on how you won, if you won the championship. So if they didn't win it, I think that you have to bring them down. But that's just me.
Okay. I see your point, and I'm not. Yes, when they added Kevin Durant, they did. I mean, that year in the postseason they went 16-1. You
Right.
can't take that away from them. They completely just dominated everybody. They basically swept everybody except they gave. I mean, LeBron James got one game against them in the finals. I'm saying, to me, Kevin Durant. So when Kevin Durant joined there, I think you had said he got better defensively, which is true in my opinion. He is a decent defensive player,
Right.
or was. Um,
He
my
was. Yeah.
my problem is what I said earlier was they're basically an Olympic team when Kevin Durant joined them then, because so when they won the championship, I just think that if we're going to put an asterisk on the Golden State Warriors for losing, I just think if we're going off talent, yes, they're better than that team because they added Kevin Durant. I just think what they did was way more impressive without Kevin Durant, and we're knocking them for losing the finals to LeBron. When if they would have won, would you still say that if they had a win, would you have put that team above this team with Kevin Durant? Let me ask you that, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because
Um,
talent-wise, I agree with you. They added Kevin Durant, who we both have agreed on past podcasts is the best player in the world. So, of course, talent-wise. But I'm saying if the Golden State Warriors would have won that 79-3, who would you have picked over the other one?
That's a tough question. I don't know. I don't know. I I probably would still pick the Durant team.
Just off
Because
of talent? Because
just because Durant. I mean, Durant makes you. They were. I, although I would say this. Okay, I think this is the best way to to wrap that up. It's like this. I think that the 73-9 team looked unbeatable in a seven game series, but I know that the team with Durant is unbeatable.
okay. Well, I won't dispute that because I think that you're correct. I think it's unfair.
Right.
Right.
So I think that yes. So I would still have the Kevin Durant team number one over them. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not even a question. Um so real quick, let's see. We talked about the Warriors. We already talked about your number one and um
Your number, what was it? 3?
Yeah, my three. Let's see. My three was the Miami Heat. We've both talked about them already. Um, I had the 2012, 2013 Heat. Um, I think I said it before. I just think that this Heat was a more this was the Miami Heat team that they learned from their mistakes from the year previous. Even though they won the championship the year previous, they gotten better. They had more time to play together, and they were just all around. They just all around played better offensively, defensively. They added more key pieces. When you add Ray Allen to a team that was already filled with shooters, you add at the time was the guy that was considered, the one of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time, if not the best at that time. Um, because Steph Curry didn't get to that level yet. It was. I just think it's no question that they were not only better than the Heat team that you have on your list, um, but were one of the best teams of the last 19 years or 20 years, whatever it is. Got anything against that?
No, and I think you could put. You're not wrong for putting. I don't think that team in your top 5, but I don't necessarily think I'm wrong either for putting the Miami Heat team I picked in my top 5. But that's fine.
No, you're not wrong, but
It's arguable anyway. So
it's arguable. But I just take the team with Ray Allen. I mean, that's really the main piece they added over it. I think it's a similar situation to the conversation with the Warriors that we just had with
they're
Durant.
right. They're adding talent.
Yeah, they just added more talent to it. But their core group was the same. So, it could be either one. I get your point. I'm just gonna go with the teams that added the talent, pretty much.
Okay.
Um, so your number one was the Warriors that went 73-9. Mine was the one that went with Kevin Durant for the first year. We both already explained our reasonings for that. So I gotta say though, JT, you kind of surprised me, man. Yeah, not that and you surprised me not because I thought your list was bad, because you actually had a good list this time. Um, it was just you. I kind of feel like you either copied my paper a little bit and just tweaked it a little bit, or there's something. I'm not sure how you did it. You might have hacked me. You are a computer guy over me. You know more computer stuff. I'm not sure, but I gotta say I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of
Well, I mean, do you have any honorable mentions? Other teams that we didn't name that might have popped in to that 7 or 8 slot on your list?
Well, the only just for teams, I mean, we've mentioned it. The, the Pistons, 03-04 Pistons. Um, that was that was just a great team. That team got to win the championship. Got to give them love. I'm gonna give love to a team that got cheated. The 2002 Sacramento Kings. I mean, I don't think we could deny that they were a really great team. I think that no matter who made the finals from the West that year, whether it had been the Lakers, like they did, or it had it been the Kings, they were going to beat the Nets. So it didn't matter. Um, they were going to win the championship. That Kings team was pretty damn good. I mean, to me they were the best team in the league that year. But I mean, I could be biased, but when you have Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, Mike Bibby, um, Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie, Peja. I mean, that was just a godlike team. So they were in my honorable mentions. How about you?
So I have the Pistons on there, the team you talked about. I have the Celtics that you put up for your number 5. And then I think you could put a couple different Spurs teams at 8, and you could put a couple different Miami Heat teams at 8, but I have the 08-09 Lakers team at 8 because they went 65-17, and that was the year they beat the Magic. And other than the Houston Rockets series that year, they pretty much were dominant all year long. Kobe and Pau Gasol. So those are the teams I had there. So
I got you. That's not bad. I kind of forgot about that Lakers team. Not gonna lie. I knew that they obviously won back-to-back championships, but it was. I still didn't think that they were. I didn't even though they beat the Celtics, so I guess technically they do deserve to be honorable mention. They do deserve that. I would still pick. I would still pretty much pick the teams I picked over them. Um, so yeah, I do like it. I do like it. Kobe he did beast out Andrew Bynum, Pau Gasol, like you mentioned. I can't disagree with that. They definitely deserve that. So, but hey, well, I think this was pretty good. I've learned some things about you today, JT. You don't like
that I'm a
you don't
Boston
like
Celtics hater. Yeah.
yeah, you like the Celtics. You think everyone is old.
Listen. I just don't want to give Boston Celtics credit. It might be me being a Lakers fan being biased.
It must be because you've been so disrespectful to them. It's not even funny. But it's okay. It's all right. You'll learn.
I don't care that Kobe, helped Kyrie. No, that doesn't mean that I can respect the Celtics. So,
first of all, we don't. I hate it sucks because you mentioned Kyrie. I kind of hate Kyrie, but I have to love him because he's a Duke. He's a Duke guy. But I kind of love him. Yeah. But I kind of hate him. I don't know why. There's something. He kind of ruined Jason Tatum, and that's I just don't get it. But
that's a topic for another time.
It's another topic for another time. I'm not even gonna get started because I can go on and on. But like I said, this was a good ranking. We had, we didn't disagree too much. We actually agreed for most of it, at least, about the teams that deserve to be on the list. Got a little rocky with the Celtics, but it'll be all right. We can get on with that. Move on from that. You got anything else you want to say to the people, JT, before we head out of here?
Should we tell them about what our next ranking episode's going to be?
You know what, JT? I think we should. You know what? How about we do? How about you go ahead and tell me that? I'll let you do that.
All right. So the next ranking episode that we will be doing on the Daddy Fino Flash podcast, just like this one, the top 5 NBA teams from the 2000s to now. We're going to be doing the top 5 NFL teams from 2000s to now. And
let's go Jets.
We might want to stay tuned for that one because I have a feeling that is going to get heated. This was a little bit more friendly debate. I have a feeling that one's going to get heated because I already know
Jets is going to be number 1.
I already know who's this guy's going to put on his list, and I can't wait. But yeah, stay tuned.
I promise to be non-biased in this. I will pick the top 5 teams, actual teams.
And you won't mention Mark Sanchez at all. Let's just put that on record.
No, I can tell you right now, Mark Sanchez will be named, but it may be for a reason you're not thinking of. But okay. He will be named. I can promise you that.
Okay,
that's for sure. But other than that, I think it was a good show. We said what's coming up, so I think we can head out of here nice. So, ladies and gents, this was the Daddy Fino Flash podcast. We thank you for listening. I'm Daddy Fino. He's JT Flash. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.